If I'm being 100% completely honest with myself, I think this marriage is only being discussed because I refuse to let it go. I do not think he is emotionally invested in any way. He has moved on with someone new. He is starting a clean slate and is currently viewing the world and his surroundings through rose-colored glasses. I do not believe this marriage has a chance. I am the only one who seems to be affected by what has transpired over the past 2 months. I believe it's too late. He's gone on to celebrate his new beginnings. The butterflies and the giddiness have rendered him blind. He believes he's found his perfect match. He's chosen her over me. He's chosen his unknown future over his unmemorable past. I have to be honest. My marriage is dead. For a moment, I thought maybe, just maybe, there was a chance, one more chance left in us. But just like everything else within this marriage, that turned out to be more of a far-off chance. I stood face to face with him last night, and although the conversation was awkward for the most part, every once in a while I caught a glimpse of a childlike or child-trap personality, and when he peeked out, I melted. For a moment, he had so many personalities, it was hard to keep track of who was who or what excitement or lack of brought each personality forward. I'm not sure if I'd met every one of his personalities, but I'm sure I came across each one momentarily at different intervals. I remembered some of his personalities despised me, some adored me, some looked down on me, some just wanted sex, and then there was the lost child. I didn't get to encounter his presence often, but when he came out, I melted. I was his mama. I thought we already said our last goodbyes. I was wrong. It seems like I've always been wrong when it came to he and I. I don't know why he hated me so much. I tried and tried to make sense of it, but I just couldn't. He didn't see that it was him who caused us to split. He blamed me by saying I told him to leave me alone, but he fails to recall that it was the awful things he said to me just before I said that. I know that is what was within his plan to get me to break up with him, and I didn't even break up with him. We've argued before countless of times before, and I've told him to leave me alone before. Never did he take that as me ghosting him. I knew he was using that as a way to be okay with what I already suspected he was doing. I knew he was beginning to talk with one of his coworkers because when I went to see him one day, she knew a little bit too much about him. When I asked, it was a red flag, and I became suspicious. It was only a week later that I supposedly ghosted him. He told me that I never attempted to reach him for 2 months. That was a complete lie. I cried and called him almost every day. He completely ignored me because he was already cheating. He tried to turn it on me like it was because I ghosted him and ignored him for months that he decided to move on. He was so heartless. I wish I never gave him so many chances. I wish I loved myself enough to let him go so many years ago. But no matter what, that time and those memories are mine to hold or let go. I have to accept my part in this whole relationship. I agreed to take him back after every attack. What that meant for me was, along with every makeup following a breakup, whether that be a breakup due to infidelity or after a physical beating, came a silent agreement of forgiveness. Unknowingly, I had silently agreed to forgiving his infidelity or his beatings. That meant I agreed to a clean slate. Sadly, I had to learn the hard way that a clean slate to him meant I was okay with whatever mistreatment I'd suffered. And since to him I was okay with the first time, the second time, the 33rd time, and with every additional forgiven fallacy, I gave him the green light to go harder the next time, and every time after that. I hadn't realized that this crazed back and forth nightmare was truly taking a toll on me in ways I never thought possible. After every cheated betrayal, physical beatdown, or emotional assault, I was being traumatized. As the chances increased, so did the intensity. The cheating became more frequent and more in the face, along with the betrayal. I was being degraded, devalued, and a little more hated. The physical beating started with a slap to the face, being knocked down, and moved into punches to my ribs, which moved up to the face. Eventually, I was no longer being beat with a fist. He moved up to bats or whatever objects within reach. He started breaking bones, and it always seemed like he made a game out of trying to knock me out. He also accidentally stomped on my head or chest. The emotional degradation began with being called a bitch, cunt, slut, a fool, a loser, a clown, or anything that he thought would put me down. I eventually got used to those words, and when he noticed that I no longer cried after the onslaught of the name-calling, he moved on to attacking my self-esteem. He went after every flaw I was most self-conscious of and most ashamed or embarrassed of. He was quick to tell me how disgusted he was in my body. He compared my stretch marks to ground beef, my breasts to flat tires, and topped it off with making sure that I knew I was ugly, too ugly for him. As time passed, I suffered and survived a few car accidents and a few beatings that left scars, a disfigured neck from a halo. It left me limping for a while, with unaligned hips, brain damage, and a facial surgery left me with a crooked smile. Although I'd survived, I was left with more flaws. By that time, we had married. Most husbands would have found pride in what his wife was able to overcome and survive, but my husband wasn't most men. He looked at my additional flaws as more insecurities he could point out and attack. He started calling me an ugly monster with a hunchback. He used to make fun of my limp, my uneven hips, my crooked smile, and always took a shot at my memory due to the brain damage. Our latest back and forth nightmare reached a whole new low. He went so hard on me, you'd have to think he either wanted me to kill myself or he never wanted me to raise my head again. He attacked my vagina, saying I was stretched out, used up, stinky, smelled of fish, pathetic, diseased, deceitful, corrupt, STDs, unstable, made fun of, broke mind and broke body and soul, wounded, lost animal, untrue, dying, sad, lazy snake, eternally disgusting, demon-scented snake, shameless, embarrassing side bitch, no value, worthless, unrealistic, ran through by many, loved by none, played out, poor excuse, soulless spirit, empty, nasty, dick-sucking, sex-ferret, regretful ex-spouse, manipulated, undeserving, lying, cheating, nasty of a tramp, slut for a friend, lover, wife, disgusting, unlucky, not appreciated, envious, evil, chunky, junkie, old, bad, dead-eyed, desire killer, wicked, shady, sperm swallowing, and finished by telling me to keep watching him, keep wishing for him, and he told me to keep selling myself. I broke down pretty badly after that. I couldn't even stand. I cried for a week straight. I was suicidal, completely alone, and I had just found out he was cheating on me. After all that, I still wanted him back, and I even apologized to him for all of that, which hurt him. When I went to tell him I was sorry and that I missed him 3 days before our wedding anniversary, he spit in my face, choked me, and threw me down on the rocks. When I finally got to speak with him, I asked why he replaced me if I did nothing wrong. He told me I was too old. Since then, he's been repeatedly telling me that he doesn't love me, he doesn't want me, and says I should be happy for him that he was able to heal and find someone that makes him happy. The hardest part of all of this is that I never cheated on him. I wasn't lying to him, and I truly loved him. And to prove my love for him, I've been staying away from his new girlfriend so I don't mess things up with their relationship. And although I beg for his kindness and for his friendship, he refuses to speak with me. He ignores every text message, even though my messages are ones to try to make him smile. He has no idea the pain